Charlie Kirk is dead. Charlie Kirk is dead.
Why do I say that in a mocking way? Well, I'm really mocking myself, because why do I care so much that Charlie Kirk is dead? When I don't really care when it comes to, children in other countries, blah, blah, blah. It's extremely hypocritical. I'm in Toronto, Canada, but no matter what country you're in or what political side you're on, you are a hypocrite when you call one death tragic and then another death not. In fact, some deaths are more tragic than others. For example, 1 million people being wiped out by a virus, or a country where children are being extinguished on a mass scale, like such as in Ukraine or Palestine. The United States healthcare program where they, if you don't pay them money, they'll let you die. I find these all to be much more horrific than this incident of yesterday. And I mean, forget about what side this guy was on or whether he was a nice guy. Is it because he's a celebrity that it's tragic? I mean, I'm not going to say it's not tragic. Every death is tragic, always. Gang shootings are tragic. All the things that Charlie Kirk laughed about and thought that they didn't matter, right? They're all tragic. So Charlie Kirk's death is definitely tragic. But why is this front page material as opposed to, little Tiny Tim next door that lives next door, who nobody's ever heard of? Why is this so newsworthy? Mainly because MAGA is itching to amp up their civil war that they want to have, their self-destruction essentially. You see, MAGA, they're bent on self-destruction, and how do you do that? You destroy your own country. I mean, I hate my neighbor in my building, but I can't declare war on him because it's going to make my own home life difficult. You might not like MAGA, you dumbasses. You might not like the fact that your neighbor is a liberal, but unfortunately, there's a lot of them in your country. You're not going to be able to jail them all. I know you'd like to, but it's not going to work out. It's like, your neighbors are like your family. You don't choose them, but you have to live with them. Your literal neighbors and your countrywide neighbors. But MAGA, like children, they're like, well, we don't want to get along. We choose not to get along. Okay, great. So you're just going to weaken the whole country and destroy your whole country. Okay, great. And you wonder why the last Captain America movie failed. Well, everybody's given up on America. The United States of America. I always said that your country died when you elected a game show host. That basically sealed the deal. It was over. So now we're just seeing it it's like the body died in 2016, but they just kept trying to give it life to mouth and resuscitate this dead body, and they just keep making it worse. Not only is the patient past life support, the patient's dead. Not only is he dead, he's already been buried. Not only is he already been buried, he's already decomposed completely, and you're giving him life to life. I mean, mouth to mouth. So I guess the death of Charlie Kirk kind of mirrors the death of the United States. And I'll share some of my thoughts on Charlie Kirk. Not specifically or especially his views, because that's really immaterial. He was just a young 31-year-old. He didn't really know much. Was he a money chaser? Was he addicted to money? I don't really know. I don't know too much about him. I just watched a couple lectures of him a week ago, so I think he was kind of getting really famous. He was on the verge of getting 10 times more famous. Was he a bully? Because, the MAGA, they've really gotten into the bullying. That's really amped up as well. Was he a true believer? I know he was, or said that he was religious. Was he actually religious, or was it just a pretense? He probably wasn't an idiot, because he was pretty good at debating. If sophistry is debating, right? He was good at arguing things that he didn't necessarily believe in. I'm not sure he believed in half the things that he was arguing. I know he enjoyed the fact that what he was arguing was provocative. There was certainly a large element of him that said where he would say something provocative and he'd be all smug about it, haha, see, I just said that thing that you're not allowed to say. Look at me, I said it, ha ha ha. Right? There was certainly that element to him. But there's that element to all of us, right? Saying that thing that nobody else will say and being all proud and being damn right. It's like that line in Batman: The Dark Knight where they go to the Joker. You really think you can just steal from us and get away with it? And the Joker goes, yeah. Here comes the blood, bloody blood, blood. Here comes the blood, and I say it's all good. Blood, 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 here it comes. So I'm a pretty sensitive, wimpy little guy. I can't stand the sight of blood. I could never go hunting. I couldn't even handle fishing without getting freaked out. But there's such a thing as compassion fatigue, and I'll explain it. So there's a lot of drug addicts in my building where I live, and they are so annoying with all the littering they do, all the noise they make. They cause floods. They bring strangers into the building. They drive me crazy, to the point where I actually think like, well, I hope they overdosed. Maybe, I'm actually hoping that they die, which is really sad that that's the only thing I can hope for in terms of them, because I should be like sad if they die, but instead I'm actually happy. Or somebody will die in my building and I'll be like, instead of feeling bad for them, I'll be thinking, oh no, who are they going to move in their place? So in a way, one finds oneself out of shits to give. Or like as my mother said, she's in her 70s, I'm 48, and she says, I've had so many people in my life die at my age that, I hate to say this, but you just stop being so affected by it. I did see the Charlie Kirk snuff film, and it was very disturbing, and it is haunting, and nobody should watch. Or maybe you should. I was even thinking maybe you should watch it to see that that's how vulnerable we all are. Anyways, back to Charlie Kirk. It hasn't even been 24 hours since the tragedy, and it's too early to point out how evil Charlie Kirk was. I reckon that in a couple of weeks, it's all going to start coming out, just how evil he really was. I had a friend who died. He offed himself a month ago. And, for the first few days, I was like, oh, that's so sad. He was such a nice guy. He was just such a nice guy. But then, after, a few days, I'm like, you know what? He was kind of an asshole. Like, no, he was selfish. And, he always looked out for himself first. And, so that's fine if some people want to make Charlie Kirk a saint and an angel. Go for it. Like, if that's your way of dealing with the grief process, fine. Americans, you should have jailed Trump when you had the chance. And now what sticks out to me, though, is that this is a tragedy, right? Everybody, the whole world cares about it, right? Why do they care about it? Oh, of course, because of political reasons. Also, though, because he's a celebrity, right? Because I guess it's more tragic if it's a celebrity. Whereas if it's, a stranger or a child in another country, who cares, right? Some children in some grade school class somewhere in the U.S., who cares? It's not real. Another thing that I think about today is how politicians, celebrities, and rich people they've gotten too much of a sense of invulnerability. They've stopped caring what the little man thinks. They've forgotten that it's the little man who keeps them employed, right? Celebrities need people to come to the theaters to see their movies. Rich people need the lower class to buy their products. Politicians work for the people. They're servants. They're civil servants. At least that's what they are in a democracy. And that's what America wants to be, right? I'm not saying democracy is possible, but that's what the aim was, right? So we're just assuming that that's what you guys want. So in a democracy, the politicians should fear the people in every way. They shouldn't just fear re-election. They should fear civil unrest when they do something wrong. They should fear going to jail if they do something wrong. They should fear mob mentality, the court of public opinion. So like I said, I watched I don't know if I said it already, I watched a debate with Charlie Kirk like a week ago where he was debating in Cambridge. And he's quite good at it. He's quite brash. He was quite fearless, right? A little too fearless, I gotta say. Because if you're somebody who's a provocateur, like he was, or like Howard Stern is or was, you don't want to be going out in public like that all the time. Howard Stern, he never goes out. He stays in his house. He's in his basement most of the time because I think he knows like it's dangerous out there, especially considering all the stuff he's done. And even if you're not a provocateur, if you're just a celebrity, you think Taylor Swift can just walk down the street or go into a bar? No, she can't. That's the price you pay, a price that you pay for celebrity. That's one price. So one thing that was appealing, I think, to people about Charlie Kirk was his overconfidence, his fearlessness, right? But they say that I don't even know if this is true, that guard dogs are only useful when they are confident. But if they get the shit scared out of them, then they become afraid, and then they're useless. You can't use them as guard dogs anymore, and attack dogs, whatever, anymore. And so Charlie Kirk was like that kid who's never been punched out before, and he thought he was invulnerable. And I think that it's sad because he was just 31. He'd probably never been in a fight in his life. He didn't realize that he was immortal. Now Trump got away with thinking that he was not, that he basically believing that he's immortal, because he had cushioning of billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to protect him from the little man. And I'm not talking about during his presidency, I'm talking about his entire life, all 70 years, he would get away with everything. So these two guys, Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump, they were like teenagers who think that, they'll never die, that nothing bad can happen to them, they're invincible, we can do anything, we can climb to the, 10th floor of a tree. But I've had a loud mouth my entire life, and I am a little man, a working class or less loser, and I have gone to bars, and I've told somebody that their girlfriend's ugly, and I've gotten punched in the face before, so I'm aware of my mortality. And I just think Charlie Kirk didn't realize that, you can't go shooting your mouth off and not expect something to happen. Does that mean he deserved it? Of course not. But I should be able to technically go into a bar and tell somebody that their girlfriend's ugly. But the reality is that I'm going to get punched in the face. And I'll give you an anecdote about this idea of people thinking they can get away with things. I dated a girl one time who, she went with her sister to a punk rock concert. And one of the punks at the punk rock concert made a lewd comment to her, and her sister gave the guy the finger. And then after the concert, the guys chased them and attacked them or something. And she was crying and saying how wrong it was, how horrible it was. And I'm like, you went to a punk rock concert and gave somebody the finger. Whoa, not that you deserved it, but you got to be careful. In the same way, if you've got a gorgeous body and you're a chick and you wear a hot bikini and you're walking down a dark alley at 3 a.m, I'm not saying you deserve to be SA'd, but it could happen. And Charlie Kirk was kind of like a hot chick walking down a dark alley in a bikini at 3 a.m. Yeah, so celebrities, all celebrities, they've gotten too much of a feeling of invulnerability. They think they can prance around and be bullies and lie to people and get away with it, and there will be a reckoning for that kind of behavior. You can't walk into the ghetto, South Central Los Angeles, and start yelling the N-word and expect everything to be treated like a I don't know, to be escorted out civilly and be treated to dinner. And I don't want to end this without taking a couple shots at MAGA. Okay, so when Kevin McCarthy got the gavel, the first thing he said was, it's going to be hard not to hit Nancy Pelosi with it. Well, that's hate speech. What is a gavel? It's a hammer. What later happened? Oh, someone hit Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer. A gavel. Okay. And what was Charlie Kirk's response after this hate speech led to this? He said that the guy that tried to off Nancy Pelosi and then tried to off her husband, he should be bailed out of jail. That's what Charlie Kirk said. So, not exactly an angel. But rest in peace. And yeah, it was wrong for him for that to happen. All violence is wrong, okay? We all know that.